There we go. All right. Team Ortiz, we are live. We're going to give everybody a couple minutes to join us, and then we'll get started soon. So enjoy the smooth sounds of Michael Haggins. So weather like in upstate New York?
Even snowy today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, guys, let's go ahead and get started. My name is David Ortiz, and I'm running for the Colorado State House here in HD 38. We are. Want to welcome everybody to another Team Ortiz broadcast. We have a special one for you today. I want to introduce you all to the team that has been working hard in front of and behind the scenes to help you flip this seat. So at this time, I want to start off also by saying Happy Earth Day. I know kind of most of our focus and attention is on public health and safety right now, and that's where it should be. But I think a lot of us have been struck by seeing pictures around the world, people being able to see the Himalayas for the first time in their entire life from where they're at, and how much of an impact this has had on the environment. Silver linings, right? And so this should be motivating us and keeping us focused on the issues, the big issues that we all need to continue caring about. You know, on top of keeping each other safe and healthy, we also need to understand the impact that we are having on our world. So I want to wish everyone a happy Earth Day, let you know that that is still at the forefront of our mind. And I'm excited to work with you all together to make sure we continue to combat climate change, especially in light of today. Also, we do have postcards. If anyone is interested in writing postcards and sending them out to their neighbors just to show a little love, to check into everybody, go ahead and email my campaign manager. His information is right there. It's going to be Matthias@corvinusstrategies.com. Yeah, so there he is right there. All right, at this time, I'm going to let everyone go ahead and give a brief introduction, name, age, profession, how long you've lived in Colorado, where, and anything else you'd like to add. So, Matthias, why don't you get us started?
Yeah, hey, so my name is Matthias Diedrichsen. I actually graduated Arapahoe High School here in District a couple years ago now, 2014, I believe. It's really great to be back here in the area, working hard to kind of connect our neighbors. Been working in politics for about a year and a half, ever since I graduated CU Boulder. Loving it. I love being back in the community. Of course, COVID has flipped that on its head, but we're doing great work here, and I'm glad to have the team.
All right,
Hey,
Irina,
I'm Delwyn Mabry. Oh, my bad.
Irina, go ahead and then.
I met this guy about a year ago when I was working in the Colorado legislature as a legislative aide. Grew up in Highlands Ranch, graduated from Highlands Ranch High School, and I am currently a full-time student at Metro.
All right, Delwyn, take it away.
Awesome. Sorry, Rita. I'm so used to like moving from one frame to the next. But anyways, I'm Delwyn Mabin. A lot younger than I look. Hopefully, I don't end up looking super old too quick. But I graduated Cherry Creek High School last year. I was the chairman of the Centennial Youth Commission for about 4 years. Advisor to Arapahoe Douglas Works for a year. Now I'm with the Department of Labor doing communications work there, and just having a blast trying to help out the community. Been involved in politics just because I wanted to make a change in youth health, and they said I wasn't allowed to get my MD at 16, so I found another way.
Awesome. Doogie Howser with us right here. All right, Kate, you're up.
Hi, I'm Kate. I'm better known as David's fiance, who doesn't show her face much around to Manita events, I think. I currently am working as a CNA over at UC Health, and I'm going to school part-time for my nursing degree. I'm originally from from New York, but I moved to Colorado 3 years ago, coming up soon, shortly after meeting David in Breckenridge.
Awesome. Will?
Cool. I'm William McCall. I'm the volunteer coordinator in the campaign and an incoming freshman at Georgetown University. I'm 17. Really lived in Colorado my whole life. I love it here. Gorgeous place to live, and obviously some great people.
All right, some great brief intros there. So we're just going to make this organic as a conversation. I'm really proud and impressed to have the team that I have. I want to talk a little bit about how I met everybody. My first time meeting Matthias actually was at a legislative forum that I was hosting, and a state legislator that was in attendance. He was the aide to that state legislator, Senator Brittany Pedersen. That was the first time I met him. We went through candidate training course together. They were training up those that could work staffing. So really jived together pretty well. And then he came on my campaign at around the December timeframe. I'm really happy and proud of the work that he's done, impressed by him, happy to have him on the team for sure. And can't talk about him without talking about his partner, Irina. She's been pretty amazing. You want to know some of the best ideas that have come to this campaign, it's her, believe me. So not to take away from him, but they definitely are a team, and they're a great team to have for sure. Delwyn, I met when we were at a bank, I believe. They were doing a discussion around Tabor and Gallagher. It was Building a Better Colorado. That was the organization that was hosting it. And they were doing a forum around talking about how we could amend Tabor or change things so we could fully fund the programs that we need to fund. So, just was really impressed from him at the beginning. We pretty much had the same criticisms about Tabor, but he said it in a way where there was a person at the table that was like, yeah, what he said. And I remember looking at him and thinking, I just said that. And he's like, but you didn't say it like I said it. So that's, really proud to have him on the team, because he's really good at putting a message together and probably being a little bit less rough around the edges like I am. So really, he's kind of de facto policy advisor too. He does his homework. He's extremely sharp. He's extremely outgoing. He does really well at events for me. So really proud to have him on the team. What can I say about my amazing partner, Kate? I mean, we did meet at a ski week. It was an adaptive ski week called Ski Spec in Breckenridge. And from the moment I saw her, I was like, who's this? And then after about 10 minutes of talking to her, I knew she was my human. I mean, we were talking about traveling and history and favorite periods of history and poetry and literature. And, I was taken from her, with her from the very beginning. And she kept being like, I don't do distance. But here we are. So there you go. And Will, he actually came to my campaign by way of another campaign, John Walsh's campaign. Was very impressed. I mean, I threw him into the deep end. He came to an event. That was the first time he was working. He was helping me up some stairs. So, really baptism by fire there. So, but he's been amazing on the team. Chances are, if you're talking to someone on the phone, you're talking to him or one of the amazing young volunteers that he's recruited to get on the phone that Matthias has trained. So just to beef up the intros a little bit, like I'm really proud to have the team that I have, and let's get into it. I want to learn more about you guys. So let's do a quick one-liner about what, and you can pick which one you want to do. What got you involved in politics? Why politics? So let's go from there, whoever wants to chime in. Don't everybody jump in at once.
I mean, I grew up in a very politically active family. My mother actually, when I was, I must have been like 5 or 6 years old, dragged me to the Orange Revolution protests in Ukraine. Yeah. So, I mean, I've always just been politically engaged, and I think it was just a natural path for me. I love engaging with voters and listening to issues and discussing policy, and yeah.
Absolutely. I'll chime in from there. So when I went to CU Boulder, I originally studied international affairs in German. And the idea was, maybe I'll work in the State Department or something in foreign relations, something similar to that. Kind of spoke to my background a little bit. But everything kind of got flipped on its head with the administration that was elected in 2016. The State Department's hiring process was actually frozen. And so my entire, career path, the thing that I had, worked so hard and spent so much money on, was now not available. So that's kind of a moment of like a call to action where I decided, domestic politics and what happens here on the state level, city level, and federal level really matters. I mean, it dictates every single one of our lives every single day. And we need to make sure that we fight hard to make sure that we have the elected leaders that we need that are going to make the right decisions for us. So that was kind of my call into politics. I've been working again for about 1.5 years here. I was lucky enough to get under the wing of Senator Brittany Pedersen from Lakewood. She, helped me out in a couple of days. I was able to become kind of a finance role there. Got to earn my chops a little bit and worked at the Colorado State Capitol. It was an amazing experience, a lot of fun, really crazy, a lot of work to do at the Colorado State Capitol. Not enough time, not enough pay. But it was an amazing experience. And yeah, I met David. Not only is David an amazing candidate, but he really kind of shines to a lot of the values that I wanted to espouse in the career path that I wanted to take. And, I guess the icing on the cake was that he was from the district where I graduated high school. So, I mean, it was a win-win everywhere. It's kind of a call to action.
It was like it was meant to be, right?
Exactly. Yeah, so it's amazing. It's an amazing team. I wouldn't change anything about my career here in politics. So it's been amazing.
Yeah, I mean, that's impressive. I mean, you shout out to the Orange Revolution. I mean, I feel you both are very internationally minded too. So I think that's kind of a perfect match for you guys. And my background is international studies. So just I love hearing that connection between domestic and foreign affairs for sure. And, we're better for having both of your work in politics in Colorado for sure. So that's awesome. All right. Who wants to jump in next?
I can go. So it seems as though I originally, for the first year at least, when I joined Centennial, was really joining just because I thought it was something good to do, help the community, get paid a little bit of money. But eventually, and really just in the second year of my time with Centennial, it became more about me putting more time and more effort into it because I feel like that's what was needed at the moment. And that's why I still put time and effort into it. I mean, with Centennial, and it's no surprise to anyone, we've been going through a period of very rough youth mental health years, a drastic increase in teen suicides, as well as an economy that might be stagnating for people who are of my generation, who are entering college, leaving college right now, leaving high school. I feel like I joined politics not because I envisioned myself in any type of decision-making role, but because I landed myself in a decision-making role because that's what was necessary at the time. I think for me, I'm happy to be the guy who sits back and does the work that he's told, but eventually it became a feeling of, hey, I think there's better things we can do. I think that these goals I have are achievable. And so I'm going to step up, put more time, put more effort, and I'm going to really try to achieve those goals.
Outstanding. And I got to say, you know, I think you, Delwyn, exemplify that. And I think, in my opinion, I know your sights are set on medical school, but I hope in the future, if you feel the call strong enough, that you serve in some capacity as an elected leader. I think some of the best leaders in our world are the ones that are kind of reluctant servants. And that's how I view you. I mean, you're really good at what you do. And we see that in everything that you've been involved in the past. And I think people, even just hearing you speak now, get that sense. People that hear you speak at some of the events that I attend get that sense of you. And those are leaders that we need. Those are leaders that you want, for sure. So shout out to you for that, definitely.
Well, everything applies to you as well, and I appreciate that.
All right, who wants to jump in next? Bueller?
All right. All right. Okay, I guess we're ruining the order here. No, yeah, I've always been interested in politics. 2016 was kind of a kick in the pants for getting involved. Obviously, I think that's a pretty common story. The rise of the Trump administration and whatnot. I got involved first with Mike Johnston, who's running for governor. Great guy, great candidate. Of course, though, our current governor, Jared Polis, beat him in the primary. So I hopped on with that campaign real fast. Great learning experience, great folks, and whatnot. After he won, I actually took a brief hiatus. Then I met John Walsh, who David mentioned earlier, who's actually running for Senate. Again, great candidate, full of integrity, fantastic guy. Unfortunately, Hickenlooper did drop in, kind of blew up the whole field. He had to drop out. So I asked him, do you know any other candidates, in this area who care about the same issues as you, or, just have that same level of integrity as you and are really going to be, great elected official? And he pointed me in David's direction. I met David, heard about his story, heard him speak, and the rest is history. He's a great candidate and someone I'm proud to work for. And hopefully moving forward, we can flip this seat blue and make sure he gets into office.
Yeah, I really appreciate that, Will. I mean, again, I feel like I threw Will in the deep end, was like, hey, why don't you help me climb these stairs? This is your first test. Let's see how this goes. Right at the beginning. And I didn't fall, so that's a good sign, right? That's why I'm still here. So, but no, it's been a joy having you on the campaign. I mean, you, Delwyn, so many here just make me so proud, and, make me proud to be an American, make me proud to be a Coloradan, just because how active y'all are, how intelligent y'all are. I mean, you did get accepted to Georgetown, so big ups for that. We're not sure what his plan, where his plans are going to take him, but I know he's destined to be a leader in his community. So I'm really proud to have him on the team. I'm proud to have him here. So.
All right, I'm Kate. I remember being involved in politics for as long as I can remember. My parents are both very politically active and passionate. I remember in high school I would throw Super Bowl parties, and I would throw Democratic debate watch parties. So I've always felt passionate about politics, more from the advocacy angle. I think is how I've been involved in the past. And I think, 2016, same thing, was really kind of a wake-up call for everyone, as far as we had an incredible president for so long, an incredible leader in office, and just showed that, you have to be active. You cannot get complacent. If you really want change, you have to be that change. So, as far as being involved, I never thought that I would be a part of a political campaign. My focus is in healthcare. But then I met David, and even though we don't always see eye to eye, I tend to be a little bit more I was putting it nicely, but I think I just got outed. Even we, sometimes our dinner table looks a little bit like Crossfire, if anyone remembers Crossfire. But we always are able to communicate with each other, and I just I'm always impressed with, even though when we don't agree on issues, he's always able to see where I'm coming from, and I'm always able to see where he's coming from. And I think that's, just aside from him just being my partner and someone who I love dearly, I think that's the kind of thing that we need here in politics, is that someone who can look at the other issue and be like, well, I don't necessarily agree with you on this, but I see where you're coming from, and I see where we can get to a point where we agree. So,
and I want to inject and say she's definitely helped me take my game in a lot of ways to a next level. Like, Kate is the best human I know. She sharpens my intellect and softens my heart. She's definitely helped me evolve when it comes to some of the way I view policies. And even when we disagree at first, it's always a challenge in a good way, and it helps me get to a better place. I mean, it truly does. And when you find people like that in your life, you hold on. I mean, that's one of the many reasons within 10 minutes of talking to her, I was like, this is mine now. Like, it was like, all right, this is my human now. You know what I mean? So thanks for that, love.
I would love to chime in really quick and just say something, like Kate said, something that makes me really proud to be part of this campaign and to work with and for David Ortiz is that he's never going to lie to you for a vote. He will always tell you what he's thinking when he's thinking it, and find that middle ground. And that,
Yeah, my brother showing love to Kate.
That's something you don't get with a lot of political candidates. So that integrity is really humbling.
Yeah, and I mean that's the culture that I try and foster here on the team, because I really think that when we're at least open-hearted and willing to listen and learn from each other, that's where you have the biggest room for growth. Now, don't get me wrong, there's certain lines that I've drawn, like, I won't listen to racists, I won't listen to bigots, I won't, like, sorry, that's my non-negotiable. Like, anybody that's anti-Semitic, et cetera, go down the line. No time and patience for you. But let's talk about gun safety. Let's talk about climate change. Let's talk about dignity and work. Let's talk about unions, and let's talk about how we can take our community to a better place, for sure, Matthias. Like, that's what it's about. And every single one of you have contributed in your own way to that. And that's made this campaign what it is. So thank you. All right, I'm going to throw out a couple issues and questions now, and then you guys can chime in and pick whatever you want. So I'm going to throw out a couple ideas and you guys can pick in. So reflect on an interaction that you've had either with a volunteer or a potential voter in HD 38, or reflect and tell a story about a mentor that has impacted you and brought you here. And I'm going to start off because I love this memory. Shout out to Cindy Sindhu, who's one of the leadership team on HD 38. And she's an active member of the community, does work with Casa de Paz. Like, she's just, her family's amazing. Shout out to Nabi too. But she, like, I remember one of my first memories when I announced was her coming up to me and being like, what do you think of the red flag bill? Why do you support it? Like, instantly, like, starting to grill me. And I was like, who is this strong, intense champion for the community? Like, instantly, like, even though I just announced, like, holding me accountable, like, asking where I stood on issues around gun safety and around climate change. And I was very impressed with her. Even in the back of my head, I was like, why aren't you running for office? Like, that was the instant initial. And that's why I knew, that's when I knew that HD, like, we saw it in 18 with how close we got with Chris Colker and his leadership, and HD 38 rallying around him. But, like, that just set the tone for what HD 38 is ready to do. So that's one of my favorite memories with a voter or a community leader here in HD 38. So either a voter, a community leader, or a mentor. So I'll let you guys take it away from there.
I'd actually be interested to hear what William has to say. He does a really great job of reaching out to the voters here in the community. He's making hundreds of calls every day. So is there anything that sticks out to you?
Yeah. Like you said, I do make a lot of calls. I remember it was a particularly tough day. It had a very low pickup rate. For people picking up, people who did were actually pretty irritated with me. But this one guy picked up, and he was an older gentleman. And he said his big issue was, equality, just equality down the board among genders, race, ethnicities, religion. Getting to talk to him, he actually said he grew up in the civil rights movement, seeing all that unfold. He said he had a couple really compelling stories. Like you mentioned, there were two halves of the town, and he remembers seeing machine guns mounted on top of churches to keep the African Americans out of the white half of town. He remembers his uncle used to organize prize fights with African Americans, and he would remember, them shouting horrible things to these people. And he just spoke so eloquently and so fervently about how they impacted his current views, that you couldn't really help but be moved by it. And I guess that's what really made me realize just how important the stories of the people in this community are. and how important it is that we represent them adequately, in this election and in the government as a whole, because they aren't right now. So hopefully, going forward, that's really been a big inspiration for me to make sure that I can tell that story and represent that story by helping get leaders like David Ortiz elected. I don't know.
That's awesome. No, that's intense. That's really awesome. And that's a moment. And that's why we do it, right? Like that's my favorite part of being on the phones, is when you have one of the voters here in HD 38 that's like, my mom had cancer and my dad has an up to this point undiagnosable illness and we're bankrupt now. We need healthcare to be all right. Or when, stories like you're telling, and I'm going to call Delwyn out when he talks about the rise of youth suicide and how it's impacted one of his friends and him directly. I mean, these are the reasons when you make connections with these individuals. Or I mean, Matias being at Arapahoe in 13 and Carolyn Blanco Losada with her son being there during that time too. Like, this is why we do it. That's what I'm just saying. But yeah, so I don't know. Anybody else have a story about a voter or volunteer or a mentor?
Yeah, I mean, piggybacking off of what Will said, I love bringing up my next door neighbor in Philly. So I moved away from Philadelphia when I was 13, and she was one of the kindest hearts I've ever met. She was a sweet lady. She had her husband passed away at an early age, and she never was able to have kids, although she wanted kids. And so she always took a liking to me and my sister when we moved there, because we were 4 and 6 respectively. And she would drive us home almost every day from the bus stop to our house. And then she would tell us all these stories or just talk to us, anything you can imagine, whether it was chemistry or religion or wars that have pretty much been happening for me and William's whole life. Anything you can imagine, she would talk to us about. And that includes her past. She grew up in a middle, low income situation as a working class, the daughter of a working class father in Philadelphia. I know Philadelphia has a rep as maybe a little bit of a rougher city. I love that about it. And she grew up really embodying that, the heart and the soul and the work ethic. She also was in the civil rights movement. And so that's why Williams, the voter William was talking about, really sparked that thought for me. And we would drive home from the bus stop, sit in our driveway for half an hour and just talk almost every day. And she would tell us stories about how her parents wouldn't talk to her for 2 years because she went and protested in the civil rights movement. She would get her hair pulled out. She would get earrings ripped out of her ear. And she would also come back always and say, hey, all these people that did these crazy, terrible things weren't terrible in the person that they are. They were terrible in their beliefs. And you can change someone's beliefs, but you can't change who they are. So you always have to look for people and the goodness in them and assume that they're good, and then just do your best to change their beliefs. And so that's something that always stuck with me, is everyone is good. Everyone is perfect. I don't want to say perfect maybe, but everyone is a great person inside, and you can always work to change actions. Their character is already there. Just work to change their actions and work together.
Very well said. Very well said. All right. Anybody want to follow that?
I can give a shout out to another leader in HD 38 who really embodies everything that's great about our community. To me, that would be John Zeck.
Yes.
I like I said, I don't have much experience in political campaigns or, on this side of the politics. So getting involved with door knocking was a nerve-wracking experience for me. And John Zeck took me out to do some door knocking for HD 38 for people to people. So it wasn't even for a campaign. It was just getting to know neighbors, going up, trying to find out what's important to the people that we like in the area that we live in. And I was terrified. I was so scared going in. I hate feeling like I'm bothering people. I hate feeling like I'm imposing. I hate talking to people I don't know. There's like all of my worst nightmares rolled into one experience. But it was great. And John just made it so easy. And it was like that experience that really showed me like what, the community we do live in. Cause just moving here 2 years ago, it's hard to, it's hard to kind of get a grasp on that. So it's just, and especially right now with what we're going through, it's nice to know that we do have just like in the neighborhoods around us, people who we've connected with and that we care about the same things. So thank you to John Zach. He leads the march on that with People to People and with HD38. He's part of the reason that this is that there was such a strong showing in 2016, and just really grateful to his and all the captains' leadership here.
Yeah, definitely. John Zek is definitely a favorite. He has that rough East Coast attitude for y'all that know what that means.
That's the other thing. He's from upstate New York, so him and I had to follow wherever he led.
Awesome. Matthias, you're muted.
I want to chime in there. Yeah, you guys have stolen a couple off my plate here, but I just really want to highlight like Ron Puning, Barb McDaniel, Dr. Lynn Perry, Pam Gale, Kathy Robinson, Susie Bourne. I'm probably forgetting. There's just so many.
Kurt Hulse. I mean, Jody Ryan. There's so many amazing humans in this community in HD38 that have been holding it down even in the tougher times. Let's be honest. That we're holding it down when the candidate that was being offered in HD38 was more of a sacrificial lamb, right? Instead of, they're just so amazing that they've been consistently there doing the work, and to see the energy around it now, right, Matthias? Like that's
absolutely
cool. All right, well, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, no, these individuals are just doing an amazing job. I'm struggling to keep up with them as a manager, trying to get them enough materials and tasks to do. I mean, it's insane. We have the highest turnout of any House district in Arapahoe County, and that is the work of these individuals. That is this neighborhood, and I want to speak about that because even when I went to high school at Arapahoe High School in the area, I didn't really know that folks in the area were that politically engaged. And on top of that, I thought it was all for the other team. So really like coming back to the area and finding out that it's actually not only the area, but a lot of the folks in my neighborhood are literally just across one major suburban street that is really doing the hard work every single day and have been doing it for 4+ years. I mean, it's a really cool experience. So I just want to say thank you to everybody out there.
Outstanding, definitely. All right, we're going to go into our lightning round now. And for anybody that's watching, if they want to participate, please feel free to make the comment. So what the lightning round is I'm going to ask the questions, and they're only allowed to just answer the question. And we're going to go through these really quick. And they're about pop culture, just to give you an idea of the personality of the team and each individual on the team. So the first question is, what house would you be in the Potterverse? Slytherin. Who's next?
I'm going to play the immigrant card real quick. I've never seen Harry Potter.
Man.
Matthias, come on.
Ravenclaw.
All right.
I'd probably be Gryffindor.
Gryffindor.
Slytherin.
And anybody out there wants to answer that, feel free. Next question is, does pineapple belong on pizza? Yes or no? No, pineapple does not belong on pizza.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Maybe yours, but not mine.
Absolutely not.
Y'all are crazy. Of course it belongs on pizza.
Oh, disagree. Okay, next question though. Is deep dish pizza pizza? Yes, it is.
No. It's just
Absolutely. It's delicious.
it's a pie.
Yeah, it's tomato casserole. Sorry.
New York pizza is the only real pizza.
Pizza's in the name. Yes, it's pizza.
All right. So we've got it. Well, I'm going to interject the question here. Who is Matthias's favorite Spice Girl? From the audience, go ahead and field it. Do you have one? Do you remember the Spice Girls? Do you know who they are? No? Okay, before your time? All right. Okay. All right, next question. Let's just go on to the next question. All right, so excluding the original 3 Star Wars, so excluding A New Hope, Empire Strikes Back, and Return of the Jedi. So exclude those, but including the spin-offs, what Star Wars is the best Star Wars? I'm going to go first. It's got to be Rogue One.
Favorite Star Wars? Immigrant card again? I'm gonna have to go with Clone Wars because that's what I grew up on. I know it's not that great, but
All right, that's an answer.
I don't remember exactly what is the second one in like the sequential order, but I like that one because I'm a big fan of Jar Jar. I think he's hilarious.
Oh man, unpopular opinion, but bold.
Can we fire him now? Can that be it? I gotta say episode 8.
I'll go
Alright.
with Rogue One too.
Oh, wow, looks like there's a McCall out there that disagrees with Will. Wow. All right, so that's definitive. Shut that down. All right. Oh, okay, here we go. Let's go with this one. In your opinion, best president in history.
FDR.
Good choice.
Seconded. FDR.
That's the way to answer it.
Wait, hold on.
I'm going to have to go with FDR too. Wheelchair president. I know he's problematic in a lot of ways. I think my honorable mention. Well, no, I'm going to do the stereotype. I'm going to go with Abraham Lincoln. He had some tough decisions to make in the toughest time in history, but I'll give honorable mentions to FDR, to Teddy Roosevelt, and also to my favorite president in my lifetime, Barack Obama. But go ahead.
I'm tempted to say Barack Obama, but I think I'm going to say George Washington just because I think abdicating power when he didn't have to, and there was a lot of support that he shouldn't give up power. I think is we don't recognize that for the tough and fundamental decision that was.
That's a good answer. I could get behind that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, did you already answer? Did I miss anybody? Okay. We've got another comment just to throw that up there on Star Wars. Mandalorian is Star Wars now. I have spoken. So there's that. Last of my questions from the lightning round, and we'll bring others from the audience here. Favorite outdoor activity. So I'm going to say for mine, it's mono skiing. It's downhill skiing, hands down. It's muted. There you go.
Yeah, I enjoy hiking.
Awesome.
I'll be snowboarding for sure.
Okay, cool.
Anytime I can be at a beach, the water's just rejuvenating, man.
Austin is next.
You're in the wrong state, Delwyn.
I moved here with my family, man.
My favorite outdoor activity, I'm gonna go hiking too. Yeah, hands down.
Mm-hmm.
I like to jog.
Man, I gotta second that. I was a runner before I got hurt, and to me, there was no better feeling than kicking the pavement or kicking the dirt, being out in the sun and running for sure. So, good choice there. All right, we do have another question from the people that are watching. So, for those that want to answer it, any takers?
Selena Gomez.
Can I say Barack Obama
again? You said Barack. So one for Selena Gomez, one Barack Obama. All right.
I'd be yours too.
I mean, yeah. That's
Barack
fair.
Obama as well over here.
Right.
Benedict Cumberbatch. Come on.
Interesting choice.
Handsomest man in the Marvel Universe.
You know who I've been crushing on lately? Because I've been rewatching Community. Who plays Annie, the actress?
Wrong answer.
I've been watching. Well, she's in another movie too. She's in another movie too called Horse Girl. I mean, so like my biggest crush is Kate. All right, let's be honest about that. But like honorable mention goes to whoever that actress is. Because I was watching this there you go, and Alison Brie. It's called Horse Girl. It's a real strange, cerebral movie, and she does such a good job in it. So just throw that out there. All right. Let's see. Moving on past that. Anybody else just have anything else they want to talk about? Like I said, let's make this a conversation as we wrap up here. Is there's a story that you want to tell or a note that you want to hit on? I mean, if I'm going to talk about a mentor, going back to that, I really feel like I need to talk about Bill Hanna. And this individual was my mentor. He was my boss when I was an advocate and lobbyist for veterans at the state capitol. He was a lobbyist for the Department of Health and Human Services for 20 years. He didn't serve in the Vietnam War because he was in divinity school at the time. So that tells you what kind of attitude he has. He's a very calming force. He's really good at listening to others. And one of my favorite stories to tell with him in it was we're going to go talking to a state senator around a tax exemption for military retirement benefits. And he was like, well, I'm gonna let you take the lead. We'll see how this goes. And I was getting a lot of pushback from this state senator about like, well, why should a person serve 20 years and then get a retirement? And then so I started immediately going after the talking points of this senator, and it turned into a back and forth. And I just remember him looking at me like, what are you doing, dude? Shh, calm down, just listen. He always was a common force and just a great human being. And, I lovingly call this senator just a warrior because she didn't back down and she did push me on the issues a little bit, and we came to a better place. So for all those reasons, I got to give a shout out to my mentor, Bill Hanna. He's made me a better listener. He's made me a better human being. If there were more humans out there like him, this world would definitely be a better place. Yeah. Anybody else have any stories?
Yeah, I definitely have to mention somebody here that I haven't mentioned so far, and that's John Stone, councilman in Englewood. He's been an amazing mentor for me. He's really helped out a lot of friends that I've met along the political campaign in the last year and a half. He is an amazing guiding force when it also comes to unions, what the unions are up to, what we need to fight for, really honing in on some of those issues. And I just can't thank him enough for all the both structural guidance and philosophical guidance that he's given. So thanks, John.
I gotta second that. I mean, John Stone, like, you have informed so much of my thoughts and my knowledge when it comes to unions and supporting workers and working family. And not only that, but building that bridge between some of the issues that might cause conflict, like, for example, universal or single payer healthcare, and working it within the construct that speaks to unions. So, I mean, he just blows my, and I got to also give like honorable mention to individuals like Brian Lindstrom, Juan Marcano, Allison Coombs, like the fab, amazing representatives and community leaders in Arapahoe County, but out in Aurora, that have also done that for me too, that have been kind of a sounding board to really form and develop my thinking when it comes to affordable, attainable housing, public education. And this is what the team is about, right? That's what I Am We Are is about, is I'm never, ever going to pretend to know everything. And there are amazing humans out there within this community that are fighting for these issues every day, that are working hard every day. And they deserve the credit for how they make us all better. Really, they do. So thanks for calling that out, Matthias. Thanks for saying that. Right now, go ahead.
I'm going to continue. I don't know if there's enough time really to mention all the folks that are just so amazing here in Arapahoe County, but Kristen Mallory Westerberg, I definitely want to mention her. Actually, so I grew up 9 years in South Dakota in the Black Hills, and Kristen's actually from there as well. So she's from Belle Fourche, the shout out, South Dakota. It's great. She's done an amazing job here as our chair, especially during COVID. The other individual that's been leading us through this has been Carolyn. Carolyn's done an amazing job here adapting our technology capabilities so we can still get this work done. So I really appreciate all the work that you guys do. I know that you guys are working your normal jobs on top of it, and you have not slept in months. So I feel like there's some solidarity there. But let's keep doing it. I really appreciate it, guys.
Great. And at this time, before we go into closing thoughts, I really want to thank everybody that's joined us and getting to know the team. This is the team that have been working tirelessly to make sure we're able to flip this seat. And I've got to throw an ask in there. In a time of COVID, when so many are being laid off and so many, are depending on unemployment, and so many are going through a difficult time economically, we've obviously scaled down our ask, and our big ask for fundraising is to support our staff. They're amazing. The amount of work that they do for what they get paid is amazing. So my big ask is, if you can in any way support this staff, go to my website. The link is right there. It's going to be davidortizcolorado.com. Our goal is for the month is 6,000. What was it, Matthias? You're muted.
6,286. Thanks, David.
Yeah, and we're $1,500 of the way there, approximately. Every little bit counts. I mean, if you've been insulated from this enough to be able to give $100, $200 at a time, great. But if it's $5, $10, $20, That's going to go a long way in making sure we can carry our staff through this. So when we all come out on the other side of this, we can continue to speak to our values around climate change, combating climate change. We can continue to speak to our values on making healthcare a right. We can speak to values on supporting public education and public teachers, and continue to combat and fight against gun violence by supporting gun safety legislation. And then also, making sure that we, support our frontline workers. I want to call attention to that too, like the love of my life, my fiance, Kate, and all of her peers, whether we're talking about nurse aides, whether we're talking about nurses, whether we're talking about the janitorial staff that clean the hospitals, to make sure that we mitigate the spread of COVID-19. So big shout out and big show of support to our frontline workers. And hey, check out my newsletter. I did write a bigger, in-depth piece into this. When I was growing up, my parents taught me the value that all work has value. You treat the CEO and the lawyer and the doctor the same as the janitor, the nurse aide. Doesn't matter. Every work has dignity. And I think when we talk about essential personnel and what's truly essential in a time of COVID, that really calls attention to it. I think it's really stripping away some of the great lies that we've been told out there that all work does not have dignity, because all work does have dignity. So keep doing what you can do for the frontline workers. Stay at home. And at this time, I'm going to open it up to parting words and closing thoughts for the rest of the group.
Yeah, just on that note, I'm not currently a frontline worker right now. I'm with my family for personal reasons for the time being. But my thoughts are with my team. I work on the medical ICU at UCH, and what they're doing there and what they're doing on the COVID unit. It's superhuman, but at the same time, sometimes it's unfair to call it superhuman, because these are people that we're asking to do these things. They aren't superheroes. These are normal people who probably aren't getting paid enough for the work that they're doing, who don't have the right safety gear to do the work that they're doing, and not just at my hospital, at hospitals all across the United States and the world. And when this is over, that's part of the reason, I feel very passionately about this campaign as well, because when this is over, we need to make changes that make sure that this never happens again, that healthcare workers aren't going to die because they're doing their job. But just always thinking of my team at UCH and everyone out there fighting on the front lines.
Awesome. Well said, Ben.
And transitioning from that, when I talked about trying to be someone who responds to needs in the community, I love when we have youth doing it. I don't know why. I feel like sometimes youth get a bad rap. Some people call them lazy or overprivileged, but when they really come together and do amazing things, that just warms my heart. And so I've gotten a lot of children across the Denver metro area, and we've been connecting with Key Club as well in Wisconsin and Nebraska. So hopefully we can get some of those kids on board to start making masks for Colorado. So for those who haven't heard about it, the hospital in Denver, St. Joseph's Hospital, has started a project called We Can Sew It. Their doctors specifically designed masks that can fit autoclave paper in. So that will act as a filter, which works better than cloth. Not as good as the professionally made PPE, so there's still a need for that. But seeing as how that need can't immediately be filled, they are asking people just from anywhere to make these masks that they designed, and they need about 40,000. I think about 15,000 have been met so far, so they need about 25,000 left. I have a team of youth who are not only making them, but some people are learning to sew. So huge shout out to those people who not just go to respond to a need in their community, but go the extra mile and take the extra time to learn something just so they'll be able to. So if you're interested in donating, we could use loaning out sewing machines, any sewing materials, threads, cloth, cotton cloth specifically. If you have time to sew, that would be great. Even if you have time to just make bias tape, which is just cutting and ironing it right, it will be a huge help. So I will work with Matthias and David to either get that on the campaign Facebook or get an email blast or something out about how you can help. But anything is always appreciated.
All right, Will.
Yeah, I guess following that, I guess all I can really say is, thank you, Delwyn and Kay, for those words. I think those are all both things that we need at this time. We need folks like you speaking up, those frontline workers getting involved with those frontline workers and making sure that we get through this in one piece. Other than that, I'm just really proud to be on this team. You guys are like a second family to me. I appreciate you all, and I'm looking forward to moving forward.
All right, Matthias and Irina.
I'm just, happy to be part of the team and try, in any way I can contribute. Yeah, it's great working with you guys. You guys are all amazing. It's been really wonderful getting to know you. And I can't wait for another game night after this.
Awesome.
Yeah, so I just want to say thank you all so much for tuning in, listening to us speak here. I can't reiterate enough just how rewarding this work can be. Sometimes it's a grind, sometimes you're exhausted, there's not a whole lot of sleep that's involved. But at the end of the day, when those events come through, or you talk to some voters that just really spark a really good conversation with you, or talk about some of those issues, has so much of a reward that can't be quantified in finances or anything else. So I really appreciate this opportunity to work here and to work for HD38. Thank you all again for tuning in.
All right. I just want to wrap up by saying, really, that's what, at the very beginning, there was some question about what is I Am We Are about? Like, what does that mean? And right now you're witnessing it. Like, I've been so lucky in my life with the caliber of people that I've been surrounded by, whether I'm talking about my brother and sister veterans that I got the chance to serve with, whether I'm talking about the community here in HD38. When I first moved here, Littleton was amazing at giving me special dispensation to make certain adaptations to my home. Just how quickly this place has felt like family. And, when you're talking about, well, why did I serve in the military? Why did I act as an advocate and lobbyist for veterans? Why am I now stepping up to run for office? It's because of the amazing humans in this country, in the state, in HD38. Just the work that y'all do for each other and the love and compassion you show for each other. How could you not answer that call? How could you not want to give back? How could you not want to do work in the community to empower individuals like that? And that's what I Am We Are is about. So thank you guys so much for my team, for being here. You guys humble me by your work. You make this campaign amazing. This is the team. This is the team that's going to flip this seat. We're going to get past, the primary in June. We're going to flip this seat in November 2020, and we're going to take our shared values to the state capitol. So I just want to say thank you all so much for listening and joining us. We're going to keep doing stuff like this so we can keep each other engaged, not lonely, exciting, and do fun things like this. So stay tuned for future events. And we're going to close out with some music here. But I want to say my name is David Ortiz. I'm running for the Colorado State House here in House District 38. And we are HD38. Here we go. So close to me. Don't stop. Don't stop. Oh, well, we got to work on your lighting, man. You're like looking darker than me over there.
It represents my teen angst. You have to understand.
Gotta lurk in the shadows.
Awesome. Thank you guys all for joining us. It's been great. Good video.
Yeah.
All right.